The South China Sea has increasingly become a testing ground, not only for naval forces, but also for the combat air power that underpins strategic dominance in the region. On one side, the People's Liberation Army has deployed the Chengdu J-10C, an advanced multi-role fighter meant to demonstrate that China can build its own fourth-generation platforms with sensors, missiles, and avionics comparable to Western standards. On the other side, the Philippine Air Force has been planning, with some difficulty, to acquire the F-16 Block 70, the latest iteration of one of the most widely used fighters in the world. The central question is simple but profound. If these two fighters ever clash over the contested waters, which will dominate the skies? The answer is not merely about airframes and missiles, but about networks, alliances, and the larger strategic ecosystem of the South China Sea. The F-16 has a long history in Southeast Asia. Singapore, Indonesia, and Thailand already fly it, and its reputation for reliability, adaptability, and consistent upgrades is unmatched. For the Philippines, the Block 70 would represent a quantum leap in capability. Equipped with the AN/APG-83 AESA radar, the aircraft can track multiple targets simultaneously and engage them with precision beyond visual range. Its weapons package, including the AIM-120 AMRAAM for long-range interception and the AIM-9X for close combat, gives it flexibility across mission profiles. Moreover, the Philippine Air Force would benefit from decades of American logistical support, pilot training, and integration with allied air forces. Yet, there is a problem. The deal has been delayed, and the aircraft remain a plan rather than a reality. Budgetary constraints, competing procurement priorities, and political debates continue to slow progress. In the meantime, the skies remain largely uncontested by Manila. The J-10C, meanwhile, has been deployed in real numbers. Built with an indigenous AESA radar and capable of firing the PL-15 long-range missile, it is designed to provide China with credible air superiority against neighboring powers. The PL-15 itself is often cited as one of the most advanced air-to-air missiles in the world, with a range exceeding 200 kilometers, at least on paper. In addition, the PL-10 short-range missile is agile, infrared-guided, and designed to rival the AIM-9X in dogfight conditions. Supported by ground-based radar, surface-to-air missile networks, and even airborne early warning aircraft, the J-10C does not operate alone. It is a key node in China's integrated air defense and offensive strike system. Its drawbacks are well known: questionable engine reliability, limited combat experience compared to Western platforms, and uncertainty about the real-world performance of its radar and missiles under electronic warfare conditions. But it has one advantage that matters. It is already here, already flying out of Hainan, already part of the air patrols over the contested sea lanes. Comparing the two on a purely technical basis is an exercise in paper war. The F-16 Block 70 has avionics maturity, tested combat records, and an enormous global supply chain. The J-10C has cutting-edge Chinese missiles and an immediate presence in the theater. If it came down to a single duel, one F-16 against one J-10C, the outcome would likely depend on who sees and shoots first. The AESA radar on both fighters can detect and track beyond visual range, but the missile matchup is delicate. The AIM-120 AMRAAM is proven but has shorter reach than the claimed PL-15. The PL-15's effectiveness, however, depends heavily on guidance support from Chinese airborne radar platforms, and without that integration, its range advantage may not translate into guaranteed kills. In close combat, the F-16's superior flight envelope, combined with the AIM-9X and helmet-mounted sights, would give it a credible chance against the J-10C armed with PL-10s. But real combat does not happen in laboratory conditions. It takes place in the South China Sea, under the umbrella of surface-to-air missile batteries, guided by radars stationed on artificial islands and influenced by tankers and electronic warfare assets. Here, China's systemic advantage becomes clear. The Philippine Air Force lacks long-range surveillance radars, has limited numbers of fighters, and has no indigenous airborne early warning aircraft. Even if F-16 Block 70s arrive tomorrow, their effectiveness will be heavily tied to American support. That means tanker aircraft for extended patrols, AWACS to provide targeting data, and logistical support to sustain operations. Without these, the Philippines would be flying a few advanced jets in an environment saturated with Chinese sensors and missiles. The strategic implications are important. If Manila acquires a squadron of F-16s, it will gain a deterrent capability, enough to impose costs on Chinese intrusions and to protect its airspace against limited violations. But it would not overturn the balance of power. China will continue to field dozens of J-10Cs, along with J-11s, J-16s, and even stealth-capable J-20s in increasing numbers. The Philippines cannot hope to match this quantitatively. Its real value lies in qualitative alliances, integrating its fighters with American and Japanese networks, ensuring that any engagement in the South China Sea is not one-on-one, but a coalition battle where the F-16s are guided, supported, and reinforced by allies. This brings us back to the core of the problem. Asking which fighter is superior, F-16 or J-10C, is only part of the puzzle. The true contest is between a solitary Philippines struggling to modernize its air force and a China determined to impose its will with overwhelming force, versus a coalition strategy where Manila, Washington, and Tokyo create a defensive web. In that broader contest, the F-16 is not just an aircraft. It is a symbol of integration, deterrence, and commitment. Without it, the Philippines remains vulnerable. With it, and with the alliance network that comes attached, Manila may not dominate the skies, but it can deny China total control. At the end of the day, the better jet matters less than the better system. The F-16 Block 70 represents proven reliability and alliance backing. The J-10C represents growing Chinese confidence and regional assertiveness. The battle for the skies over the South China Sea will not be won by dogfights alone, but by which side can leverage technology, geography, and strategy in harmony. For Manila, the decision is urgent. Secure the F-16s, integrate deeply with allies, and build a layered defense, or risk watching the skies fall uncontested into Beijing's hands.